Business Concert Africa launched the Entrepreneurship Revolution program, ERP, which is to create 1 million jobs. But how far has this gone is the question most of us are asking ourselves. And here to answer those questions is Business Concert Africa's Managing Director, Mr. Henry Kachaje. Actually, he is an economist, a business and leadership consultant, entrepreneur, author, motivational speaker, and personal development coach. Mr. Kachaje specializes in leadership development, strategy development and implementation, export trade development, entrepreneurship development, change management, and personal motivation speaking. And he is our guest today in MBC Exclusive. Do stay with us. Welcome indeed, Mr. Kachaje.
Thank you very much.
Tell us more about the Entrepreneurship Revolution program, and maybe you can just try to remind us or as to what do we mean when you say entrepreneurship.
Indeed, our organization last year launched a program which we are calling the Entrepreneurship Revolution program. The program aims to recruit 200,000 entrepreneurs across the country, and we want to work with these businesses over a period of 5 years. The aim is to help them grow their businesses, develop the capacity to and increase their business volumes. And the aim is each business should have a potential and capacity to create 5 jobs on average, and collectively the businesses must produce or create 1 million jobs in this country. So this is what the program is all about. We launched it late last year, somewhere in October and November across the country, and we have been rolling the program, I think as I'm speaking now, for about 3 months.
200 businesses or entrepreneurs?
200,000
entrepreneurs.
Yes, that's right.
What is the strategy which you planned, or I think you have already started using at the moment, to recruit these people?
We have a number of strategies that we are using to get businesses to understand how the program is working and how they can be part of the program. One of the major strategies that we are doing is that this year, in the first and second quarter, we are rolling out a program which is going to create or establish district business associations. The idea is that every district we should be able to have an association for small and medium enterprises, and all these district business associations are going to form now a collective body, which is more or less like a chamber for small and medium enterprises in the country. This is a strategy which we believe is going to help us to have a nationwide outreach, as well as being a strategy that can sustain the operations and services being given to the businesses over the period of 5 years.
And so far, how do you describe the progress, Mr. Kachaje?
For us, I think the program is quite a success, because reviewing what has been the reaction from the business community over the initial period, which is only 3 months at the moment, is people feel it's a program which is indeed adding value to their businesses, because upon launching the program, we opened up to businesses to say they can register and be part of the revolution. And as I'm speaking, our numbers are close to 1,000 businesses that have decided to be part of the program. And
but you're targeting 200,000.
We are targeting 200,000. And
do you have a specific time frame?
What we've done is that we have segmented the 5-year period into 3 phases. The first phase, which was from launch to December this year, which is December 2013, is what we call phase 1, which is a recruitment and mobilization phase. And then there is another phase which will run for 2 years, which will be from January 2014 to December 2015, rather. That second phase will be more of building businesses and giving them support services that can help them actually run and develop. The last phase, which is in the last 2 years, is a phase to really consolidate and get the businesses up and running. What we've seen in the first part of phase 1
3 months.
is actually encouraging enough to tell us that this is a program which the country needed, and it's a program that the country is ready to embrace.
What do you mean by encouraging?
We have had people that are either already in business or people that are just running or starting their own businesses right now.
And between these two, who are you targeting really?
We have a two-pronged approach. We are targeting those that are already running their own businesses, as well as interesting people that have been hesitating to start their own businesses.
Why are you targeting those that are already in business? I thought they're okay, good and
The
running.
people that are already in business are not yet okay, because I think every business has got the capacity to expand.
Is that your opinion, or that's what you found out on the ground?
That's what we
Backed by
find
research?
on the ground. That's what we found on the ground, because compared to other countries, Malawi doesn't have a lot of business support services. I will just give an example of the UK, for example. If you go to a country, a developed economy like UK, you find that there are government-run institutions that support the small and medium enterprises, where you can simply walk into a business counseling center and then you find services and support. In Malawi, I think this is something that we still have to develop, and it's an area where has a lot more potential. So in my view, and in the view of the people that we've been working with, we are finding the program.
And it goes
to be
by
useful.
example. I'm thinking UK is too far. Any good examples like in Africa, sort of SADC, ECOWAS, or any other country in Africa?
In African
where things have
countries,
been
let me
better,
say,
using
African
lessons learned,
countries have not done so well in spurring the spirit of entrepreneurship in their own people, and probably that's the reason why our economies are lagging behind. I think we need to be learning from others that have actually progressed economically. But nevertheless, I'll make a mention of two countries in Africa, Kenya and South Africa. Kenya has actually had a very definite support for even rural-based businesses. Kenya has a lot of cooperatives that are running in that economy. And you're talking about up to 43%, if I'm not mistaken, of the country's GDP is in the hands of small and medium enterprises, together with the cooperatives. And the third largest bank in Kenya is owned by cooperatives, which is actually a significant reason and contribution to see that indeed if you support the small and medium enterprises and cooperatives, you can reap the results. South Africa has a deliberate policy to support the previously disadvantaged groups, which are the blacks. So the Black Economic Empowerment is actually a definite program that has seen some results. It has had its own pros and cons, but it's a program which
now,
I think is working.
Entrepreneurs have come in so far, that's what you say.
That's right.
Much as they've been encouraged, but are you impressed with the reaction? Are you satisfied, or you think
I think we could have done
people
better.
haven't really gotten...
In my view, I think we could have done better because remember we did a nationwide launch, and the first launch was actually even covered live on television, which in my view was a better way to get everybody to know what a program is and how it's being rolled out. But I think the uptake has been slower than how we would have loved it to be. Not that we are surprised. We are not surprised, because entrepreneurship is something which, up to now, it's viewed as something. People go into business when they have failed something else. They failed to secure a job.
It's not taken as a priority.
No, it's not taken as a priority in our country.
Why is that so?
It's the cultural setting, the orientation. We train our people to find jobs. We don't train them to create jobs.
And who is to blame for that?
I think everybody is to blame, because the parents are not demanding that their children must be given an alternative education. We are allowing the educators or the policy makers in the education system to only concentrate on creating people that are looking for jobs. So unless you demand it, probably policy makers can't see that there is a reason or there is a need now to focus on job creation.
Let's look at our education institutions.
Yes.
So do you think they are lagging behind, they're not moving with time, or what? Beginning with the equipment they're using, the syllabus, the procedure, and everything, sir?
Recently, I'm told the syllabi in secondary education has been revised. I haven't had a chance to see what has been included. but I can say it outright. If it hasn't included entrepreneurship as a subject, then we are still lagging behind. My view is that at secondary education, entrepreneurship must be a mandatory course. Why am I saying so? The highest level of education that we would honestly hope the largest number of our population is going to access is secondary education, because tertiary education is very limited in terms of space and capacity to take. Now, if the largest number of our citizens are only going to be educated to secondary education, then leaving out entrepreneurship is suicidal as a nation, because we are not preparing the nation to be self-reliant. Jobs that are being created in this country are far too few compared to the number of job seekers. So leaving out entrepreneurship, I think, is a serious crime that we are committing, if I may use that strong word. But
when you look at the policies that we have as a nation, are they okay? Are they in line with what you're trying to do as a consultant, and indeed, but as well as a citizen in the country? Do we have right policies being utilized in the right way?
Our policies have worked to a point, but I think every policy saves a generation, saves a particular time frame. We are actually one of the countries that are able to develop very good documents, but probably we don't use them. We develop them and we put them on the shelf, and then we don't use them. I'll give an example. The SME policy, which is being revised now, I have a copy of the previous one, which we had been operating with for probably a period of about 10 years. It has very good things that were designed in it to support the growth of small and medium enterprises in the country. But I would say probably 80% of it was never implemented. For example, there was an issue of government is going to create factory shells to allow small and medium enterprises to be able to operate from premises that have been pre-constructed, which would have actually been a good plus to the small and medium enterprise, because they don't have to spend so much to invest as they're starting in their businesses.
So why can't we transform these things into practice? Where are we stuck? Apart from mentioning the education sector being a competitive
there is
factor.
a word which we usually use to just explain why we're not doing what we're doing, and the word is called political will. We lack the political will. But what is political will? Definitely, it's more complex than just saying we lack political will. I think as a country, we have so many things that we want to do, and at times we don't focus. We start something and then we change it.
We lose focus on the way.
We lose focus along the way. And because in the absence of probably a long-term kind of strategy or vision to say this is what we want to become over the next 30, 40 years, we tend to rely so much on short-term strategies which are 5 years only in length. And
isn't that enough? What's
no, that's not enough. No, 5 years is
too. Why do you think that way? 5 years is quite big time.
5 years
is 12 months.
5 years is not long enough if you don't have a long-term vision. You need to have the long-term vision, and then you develop 5-year strategies to move you from one section to another.
Isn't that covered under the MDGs? You had 1, and now there is 2, maybe 3 will become.
Yeah, but those are only 5 years. That's why I'm saying these are medium, or I would call them short to medium-term strategies. We don't continue. We just revise them, and then probably we change them. But believe you me, we need a longer-term strategy, a longer-term vision within which to develop the short-term strategies.
On the part of us as Malawians, do you think we're doing our part, or you think they also need to do a lot in terms of mindset, attitude, and all that?
We need some transformation in the country, and probably that's the whole reason why we introduced the Entrepreneurship Revolution program, because some of the advantages of entrepreneurship is that it brings the change of mindset. An entrepreneur doesn't think the same way as the ordinary person that has just been trained in the ordinary schools. Entrepreneurs look for opportunities. They are seeing what probably the average person doesn't see. And that's the sort of mindset change that this country needs.
Well, that's where we're going to continue after the break. An entrepreneur sees things that an ordinary person cannot see. Remember, we are having Mr. Henry Kachaje, Managing Director for Business Consult Africa. Indeed, he is our guest in our program today. Stay right there. Yes, indeed. This is exclusive on MBC, and I'm having Mr. Kachaje, Director of our Business Concert Africa. We're just talking on who should play which role, and I think we had begun focusing on, for example, myself as a citizen.
That's right. What I was saying is that as citizens, I think we need to rise up to the occasion. We need to understand that probably what was working before isn't working currently. I'll give that same example of our education system. The education system has produced a lot of people that are looking for jobs. But the question is the system working? Should we continue to produce people that are simply looking for jobs? Or should we probably think outside the box and say, wait a minute, we are producing people that are looking for jobs, but who is creating the jobs? Shouldn't we now invest time in people that must now create the jobs? The question is, who should be thinking and who should be driving that? Should it be government or should it be the citizens? In my view, I think everybody must be involved, because if you are not getting a job, it should be your concern to say, wait a minute, the jobs are no longer available or they are hard to come by. And then is there anything else that we can do?
Not to blame the government.
We shouldn't blame the government, but I think we should get the government working on areas where we have an interest. And I think as citizens of this country, we must have an interest to say we have a lot of people that are looking for jobs. We need government to now help us to create the environment, to create the policies, and come up with programs that can support the growth of small and medium enterprises.
Now, through the ERP program,
Yes.
which do you think are the most critical areas which you think SMEs have not invested in, which can quickly change the story of Malawi economically?
Malawi is an agri-based economy, and I think we need to build our businesses based on agriculture first, and then we can diversify in other areas. We have been a subsistent farming economy. We depend on rain-fed agriculture. As entrepreneurs, we need to come on the scene and rise to the occasion and say, how can we transform agriculture in Malawi? How can we make it more economically viable? Because at the moment, the way we handle our agriculture, it's really for survival. People go to the village, to the farms, to the gardens, really, just to cultivate enough probably to sustain them throughout the year. But entrepreneurs must come and say, can we do 3 or 2 time cropping on the same farm, invest in irrigation, invest in technologies that can actually enhance the productivity on the farm. Secondly, on the value chain is the value addition to what we produce. At the moment, almost everything else that we produce, if we are going to sell it or export it, we are exporting it in the raw form material. Our organization has been involved, and it comes back, and then we buy it when it has been processed. For the past 10 years, we've been running a program which is called Trade Africa, and we just recently changed it to Train for Trade. It's a program that has been focusing on diversifying the export base of the country. And it's quite pathetic that over the past 10 years, almost every time businesses that we take to international trade fairs to exhibit their produce, they take produce. They don't take any processed goods or services from this country. Recently, 2 years ago, when we were at the International Trade Fair in South Africa, I actually checked around in all the halls, and probably we were the only country that had brought produce, that had brought beans, that had brought legumes, but our friends brought packaged products, and you can see that we are lagging behind.
Financing has been an excuse for some time. Do you subscribe to that?
Financing is an excuse, and it's indeed a good excuse that we can't dismiss, because look, you can have the skills, you can have the know-how, but if you can't access finance for processing or growing your business, then it's definitely an issue. But I'll be quick to say, in many cases, most people rush to only single out lack of finance as a reason why they're not getting into business. But I think there are more creative ways that people can engage into for them to raise financing for their businesses. I'll give a simple example. Many people that will be saying, I don't have enough finances to run a business. And you ask them, how much are you looking for? They will probably say, I'm looking for $1 million Malawi kwacha to start my business. And the person is driving a car which is worth 2 million. The issue is, why not sell the car? Use that money, invest in your business, because then that shows commitment to say you are serious about your idea and you want to invest into the idea. I am one person who discourages people to start a business with borrowed funds, because I believe a business must be started with your own resources, but then you can borrow funds, you can access some extra financing to expand a business that has already demonstrated it's capable of progressing. I mean, that also means that you don't subscribe to those people who usually say banks have not assisted SMEs in the country in terms of giving them relevant funds. And of course, talking about the current lending rates, it is so high, talking of 20-something percent, I think. What do you think about that as well? You know, I've actually been talking to almost every bank in this country. Banks are keen to support small and medium enterprises, but there are challenges that they face when they are dealing with small and medium enterprises. And I think the first one, which is very key, is that this country, there are no national identities. So because you can't actually identify your borrower, you can't identify the person because they have no identity. It's very risky. But if government had come in and sped up the process of giving its citizens
Isn't that
identity,
a lame excuse, Mr. Kachaje?
It is not a lame excuse, because why should I lend my money to somebody whom I can't trace?
Isn't there another means of identifying that person?
How can you identify a person who has no identity? Because the next set of identities that this country produces is a passport or driver's license.
But Asians have an identity, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yes, Asians have good identities. Yes, Asians have good identities. They come into this country with passports. They are favored. I don't think they are favored. Asians are very good entrepreneurs, that I can also say. Those people understand how to run businesses. It runs in the blood. An Asian trains his child, his daughter, in business from the day they are young. I'll give a very practical example. I grew up in Area 2. We were in the midst of Asians. And this side was an Asian who today is running so many big businesses in Lilongwe. And his son, who we were playing with at that time, is actually a very good business person who is running a large chain of investments in the country. What did I do? My parents sent me to school. They sent me to university, and they thought I should get a better job. So we get what we trained for. The Asians train for business. We train for jobs.
White-collar jobs.
Yeah, we train for white-collar jobs.
Now, what should be the role of the government in the program that you are just about? Do you think there is a way which you think can work together and make sure this is implemented? Because 1 million jobs, that's quite a big number. And maybe somebody is saying, is that possible?
All right, okay. Let me start by the last question. Yes, it is very possible to create 1 million jobs in this country. I will remind our viewers that the time we are launching this program, our guest speaker at the time was Mr. Tom Pinganjira, the owner of FDH Bank. And from his point of view, he said, look, it's possible. He has created over 300 jobs in a space of 10 years. So he thinks a business can indeed create 5 jobs. But what is the role of government? In my view, this program could actually work much better if it was being run probably from the hands of government or with the blessing of government. But it's not that we are running it without the notification or involvement of government, far from it. But we've continued our discussions with the Ministry of Industry and Trade, and it is our view and our hope and our prayer that they will see the values. But probably government takes time to make its decisions. I wouldn't say that they are not appreciating, but probably they're discussing and seeing what could be their role in partnering with us. But we feel this program must be embraced as one of the contributions to the economic growth.
So how long is the training, you say, once again? If one joins today, how long is it going to take?
What is happening is that how we run the program is people come on the program. If you're already running a business, you come on the program, you register on the program.
Sure.
And then we give them some tools that can support and help them to run their businesses.
I see.
And But then we are running quarterly business seminars that are being run in all the 3 regions. So the next set of seminars are going
Just
to be run
empower them more.
Yes, to empower them more. So we're going to be doing this in March, then we'll do them again probably in June, and then 3 months thereafter.
Somebody is thinking, if I join, am I going to have the money? Are you going to finance my business or what? Or are you just going to create a way or show the way?
The issue is entrepreneurship isn't about capital, it's about ideas. And these are the words of Sir Richard Branson, a very accomplished entrepreneur. What we are actually trying to achieve is to get Malawians to understand that entrepreneurship isn't just about capital. I'll give a very practical example. One of the lessons we are teaching people in this program is that if they have 10,000 kwacha to start with, it's enough to start a business.
So it's not about big companies.
It's not about having large sums of money.
Kwacha.
Because if somebody starts a business with 10,000 and follows some of the principles that we are teaching them in this program, they should be able to grow that 10,000 into 10 million. Now, some people say, no, that's impossible. Well, it's possible because we're doing it. Some of us do these things. That's what we do for a living. I'm an entrepreneur and I invest sometimes from nothing. So I can actually start a business from just a simple idea.
Well, maybe as we, excuse me, as we're going towards the end of the program, SMEs are very key in any economy.
Yes,
I think that has been the trend. I mean, what do you think should be the most key thing that Malawians need to do, be it the civil society, you consultants, economists, or as a citizen, in order to make sure that we go for the real change that we would like to see by the end of the day?
I think as a country, we have an opportunity to change. And the goodness is that change can happen at any time. And change can start from any corners of society. In my view, I think we have actually a good motivation because next year, 2014, this country is going to be clocking 50 years after independence.
I thought you'd be saying there are elections.
No. In 2014, for me, we are celebrating 50 years of independence. I don't know what we are going to be celebrating about. I'm confused, but I know we'll have 10, 50 years.
Peace and stability, that is
maybe
okay.
Peace and stability and poverty in 50 years. Maybe what we need to do as a nation is to take stock of the last 50 years and say, what has worked in 50 years? What hasn't worked in 50 years? And then probably we need to ask ourselves the same questions and say, what kind of Malawi do we want to have in the next 50 years?
Quite important.
For me, I think that's very important. We need to do that as a country.
Thank you very much indeed. Yeah. Now, when the final curtain rolls, how do you wish to be remembered in one way or another?
I've actually already written down on paper what I want to be read at my funeral, so I won't read it out. But I want to be remembered as somebody who helped transform this economy, the economy of Malawi, by spurring the spirit of entrepreneurship in people. I want to be remembered as a person who challenged the status quo. I'm one person who gets irritated when we are on the same spot for so long. So I want to be remembered as a person who challenges the status quo, especially when the status quo is not delivering the kind of results that we want to have as a country. And then lastly, I want to be remembered as somebody who had passion, who loved this nation.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Well, I think it is possible to create 1 million jobs. You and I must take part in building our nation. Hope you have learned a thing or two in this exclusive program where we had BCA's Managing Director, Mr. Henry Kachaje, enlightening us on the Entrepreneurship Revolution plan. Matthews Malada, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Bye-bye.